Buenos días, hasta el viernes, son las 12. Hello everyone, it's 12 o'clock and it's Friday, so it's time for our last community Spanish of this week, number 3 of 3, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12. In addition to community Spanish, we also have our community French running, which is on a little bit of a different schedule this week. So instead of broadcasting on Tuesday and Thursday mornings at 8:30, instead it was at 5 p.m. This week, and most likely will be at 5 p.m. next week as well, but we will confirm that a little bit later. We also have the children's programming going on for Facebook Live every afternoon for Spanish and in the mornings for French. Please feel free to check out those two different events on our Facebook page to see what the days and times are for those. And we also have our Instagram Live videos going on too. So you have another opportunity on a different platform to see some different material and some different faces if you're wanting to learn some Portuguese or some French. So you can feel free to check that out. As it's coming to the end of the week, I'm going to do some of my weekly updates of putting up on the website the materials from this week. So if you want to check out some of the videos that we've done earlier in the week, or check out some of the extra resources like the extra free worksheets that we give away with each of these videos, you're welcome to go check out on the website a little bit later and see all the most recent updates of different topics that we've been covering and different little lessons to explore. So you're welcome to take a look at that and pass those on to anyone else who you think might enjoy the videos. And last final reminder before I get into the topic of today's video is that August classes are starting next week already. So there's maybe like one more day essentially to get into classes if you would like to join the class for next week. There still are a couple of classes with some openings remaining. So if you're kind of just occurring to you now, hey, actually I want to join a class that starts next week, please get in touch with us as soon as you can, and we'll try to figure everything out and get you into the right class. So with all that said, we'll get into our topic for today. This lesson is a little bit more for those of you who are kind of in your beginning stages of learning Spanish. What we're going to be looking at is a vocabulary lesson today that's going to be focusing on some basic adjectives or basic describing words that you can use to talk about people and some things as well. And I think while this is more of a basic lesson, these are kind of some of those words that are so foundational and words that you use so often that even if you're a high-level student, it might be good for you to refresh some of these words to make sure you're using them because they would still come in handy to you too. So let's get to it and get to the vocab list, and let's go through it, and we'll start saying the words together first, as we always do, to make sure that we can pronounce them correctly. And also, as we know, the more we repeat something, the more we write something, the more we're likely to remember it. So we often repeat things when you're learning a language, not only to make sure that you're training your mouth to make the right sounds and your ears to recognize the right sounds, but it's also to help your brain to absorb the material. So you're more likely to remember it if you're going to say it a lot of times or write it a lot of times or both. So let's get to our list of words, our adjetivos básicos, or basic adjectives. These are some of our kind of core words that we can use when we're just starting out Spanish up to advanced levels. So these words are all going to come in handy for those situations. So let's go through and read through some of the words. And you'll see as we get through the list that these words were all provided in both the masculine and feminine forms. As we know, and I've done a previous video on this as well, if you need to get a refresher on gender in Spanish, that we have to have a gender that goes with everything and every person in Spanish. So in most cases, it's going to be either a feminine gender or a masculine gender we're going to assign to a person or an object. So we have to choose the right form of the adjective depending on who or what we're describing. So if it's a masculine thing or it's a feminine thing, we're going to choose different endings. So that's why we can see on the list here some variation on these words. Although some of them, they only have one form. So if you're using in a masculine form or a feminine form, it's the same, like the first two. But for most of these words, we're going to have options to choose. So let's get to it with our vamos a repetir. We're going to repeat together. Fácil. Fácil. This is easy. Next we have difícil. Difícil. Difficult. And keep in mind this one, we can see the accent in the middle of the word. This is one I often hear students mispronounce, and they say difícil, but it's difícil with the strong part in the middle of the word. So make sure you keep that in mind when you're pronouncing this word. Next one we have for tired is cansado, cansada. Next for active, we have activo, activa. Then for good, we have bueno, buena. This is the word that probably almost everyone knows, even if you're not a Spanish speaker, most people know this word bueno. Okay, next we have the opposite of bueno is malo, mala. Next, for new, we have nuevo, nueva. Make sure not to confuse this with the number 9, which is nueve. That's another common mistake out here with students. So this one for new is nuevo or nueva, and nueve is the number. Okay, next we have the opposite of, the synonym more or less of nuevo is moderno, moderna. And for old, this is like old, like usually, especially like ancient, so something that's very old. Antiguo, antigua. Is for weird or rare, raro, rara. This one is definitely a good one if you want to help practice the pronunciation of your R in Spanish with rolling your R's, or trilling it's called. So raro and rara. Okay, next for common, we have común, común. And this is one of those words where masculine or feminine, they're both común, so we have nothing to change at the end. Next for right, as in the right answer, not right like the direction, right or left, but right, the correct one is correcto, correcta. And then for wrong, incorrecto, incorrecta. Interesting, interesante, interesante. And this one, like all of the adjectives that end with the letter E, are ones where the masculine and feminine forms are the same. So interesante or interesante, same way for both masculine and feminine. Next one for exciting, we have emocionante, emocionante. And keep in mind, this is exciting, not excited, but exciting, something that is exciting. Okay, next for bored, aburrido, aburrida. Intelligent or smart, inteligente, inteligente. Make sure to make the H sound in the middle for inteligente. Okay, next one for friendly or nice, simpático, simpática. And the last one here we have is for funny. Is it funny as in someone who likes to have fun? Not funny necessarily like joke, but funny like someone who likes to have fun, a fun person. Divertido, divertida. Muy bien, so that's our list. We'll go through it one more time, just one by one, and we'll get a little bit more practice in before we start doing exercise. And you can start thinking about what are the kind of adjectives that you would use in your daily life. Be words that you want to use to describe either yourself or some people around you, or words that you want to describe the activities that you do. Some of them maybe are interesante, some are emocionante, some are aburrido. We can use these, all of these adjectives can be used to describe people or things. You know, some of them I think it's going to be more obvious that you should only use it for one category versus the other, like for something you should use for a person, there's something you should use for a thing, but there are some words that we can use for both. So, una vez más, one more time, let's go through the list and then we'll get to our practice exercise. So, we have fácil, difícil, cansado, cansada, activo, activa, bueno, buena, malo, mala, nuevo, nueva, moderno, moderna, antiguo, antigua, raro, rara, común, correcto, correcta, incorrecto, incorrecta, interesante, emocionante, aburrido, aburrida, inteligente, simpático, simpática, divertido, divertida. Muy bien. All right, so let's use these words and we'll get a little practice together to fill out this exercise. where we have to choose the right form to go in the blank. And remembering what I was mentioning about making sure that this agrees with the thing or the person you're describing in terms of masculine, feminine, and also in terms of the number. Is it one or is it more than one, singular or plural? So we always have to, in Spanish, we pretty much always have to be considering those two factors, the gender and the number. So let's see if we can apply that. Please feel free to share your answers in the comments on the video and we can see if you are choosing the right options. So, número uno, María está, and we can choose cansada, cansado, or cansados de trabajar. So which one do you think goes best in this blank? María está blank de trabajar. Cansada, cansado, cansados. Which one do you think goes best to describe María? It would be cansada, cansada, because María is a woman's name, so we're assuming this is a woman, and it's one, so we should use the feminine singular form, cansada, cansada. Ok, muy bien. Número dos. Esta canción es muy buenos, buenas, or buena. Esta canción es muy buenos, buenas, or buena. This one will be buena. We can see canción. Canción is a song. So we know it says this song is very. So this song is only one. So we know we have to choose the singular option. So just by that, we could choose the right answer because we know we can't say buenos because that's plural. We can't say buenas because that's plural. So it has to be buena. And then especially we know that because canción is feminine. In order to complete this exercise, the video I made on gender is going to be really helpful for you to choose the right thing. So if you want to check that video out, you're welcome to go there to refresh to know like what are some of the common ways you can tell, but if a word is masculine or feminine, that's going to be kind of key for you to use this kind of exercise, right? And to use these words, of course, correctly in your talking. Okay, número tres. Es un lugar muy bueno, buena, or buenos, para hacer ejercicio. Un lugar is a place, so we're going to make the same kind of judgment we made for the last one. If you decide feminine, masculine, singular, plural, so we have to choose the right option to describe lugar. And we can see as un lugar. So the word un gives us a clue. It's masculine because not una, but un, and also un versus unos. So we know it's also masculine and singular. So even if you don't know the word lugar, you could still choose this answer. You could still choose the right answer, even without knowing what lugar means. Just by using the clue of un, you could figure out the right answer between bueno, buena, and buenos, and it's going to be bueno, because bueno is the masculine singular option. And as we know that lugar is masculine and singular here. Okay, número 4. Sergio va a comprar un coche nuevo, nueva, nuevos, de color gris. Un coche. Un coche. So again, this one we can use some of our context from the sentence to help us know. Even if we didn't know the word coche at all, we could still know just by the word un what's the right answer. But knowing the word coche, which most likely you know, car, we know it's masculine and singular. So we are going to say nuevo to describe masculine and singular car. Un coche nuevo. Okay, número 5. Todas tus respuestas en la prueba son correctos, correcta o correctas. Todas tus respuestas en la prueba son. So again, this one, another case where we can just use clues to figure out the right answer. Even if you didn't know any of the vocabulary, you could still figure it out. But so here we're going to focus on the word respuestas. And we can see by the ending of as that it's feminine and plural. So we should say correctas to match. Correctas. Because correctas is also feminine with the A ending and plural with the S ending. Okay, número 6. Julia está comprando una camiseta con un dibujo raro, rara, raras. So remember we're describing here un dibujo. So we can see again from our clue word of un, we're working with another masculine singular word, un dibujo. So we should choose the masculine singular form to go with it. So raro, rara, or raras is going to be raro, right? Because masculine and singular, raro. Okay, 3 more to go. Número 7, no me gustan las películas Triste, tristes, or tristas. So we have las películas, movies, that we're describing here. So we can see from películas, it's feminine and plural. So we have to choose the right option. So we know we can eliminate triste because that's singular. So we know that can't be right. So then it says tristes or tristas. So this one is someone where you actually would need to know the original vocabulary word to pick the right answer. To know that the word triste is the original. And as we talked about in our list, if a word ends with E, then masculine or feminine forms are going to be the same. So tristas does not exist in Spanish, actually. It's a false answer. So it has to be tristes, because triste is the form for masculine or feminine. If it ends with an E, it stays with an E. So the only thing we can do is add an S or have no S. That's really the only thing we can change with the word like triste. And we're describing películas, plural, so we have the S. So tristes is our correct answer. All right, dos más, two more to go. Ocho. La lección de la maestra es aburrido, aburridos, or aburrida. La lección. Okay, so we have to choose describing la lección, the lesson. So knowing what we know about la lección, we can see that lección is going to be feminine and singular. So we have to choose the one that's feminine and singular. So we have aburrido, aburridos, aburrida. So only one of those fits the bill there of feminine and singular, and that's aburrida. Aburrida. La lección de la maestra es aburrida. The teacher's lesson is boring. Okay, last one, número 9. Last one to wrap us up on this last video of the last week of July. There's a lot of lasts today. Okay, número 9. La tarea es muy difícil. Difíciles. Difícila. We should choose the right one here. So we know we have la tarea, so we can tell it's singular and feminine. Okay, so we can immediately get rid of difíciles because that's one is a plural. So we know because we're describing la tarea, which is singular, we can't choose a plural option. So it's either difícil or difícila. So if you remember this one from the list above, just like words that end with E, there's only one form. So we don't change it between masculine and feminine. And difícil is a word just like that. So difícil is difícil or difícil for masculine or feminine. There's only one option. So difícila doesn't exist in Spanish. So it's going to be difícil. 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 So we have to make that, and that's the feminine singular form that's going to agree with la tarea. Okay, so I hope that was helpful, giving you some of those basic adjectives that will really come in handy for you at any level. These are things that we can definitely use, and not only when doing practice like exercises like this, but these are another one of those topics where you can practice it very easily in your everyday life, depending on if you're describing people around you, things around you. So there's a lot of opportunities for you to practice this one outside of the classroom too. So definitely take advantage of those opportunities in addition to checking out exercises like this, watching the videos again, and I'm going to post even another exercise to help push you and just one step further in practicing with these adjectives. So please feel free to check that out on our website a little bit later. That's all for this week. So I'll see you next on Monday at 12. Gracias y adiós.